I'd known Pedro for 20 years. And I said, you know, go out there and list your caving buddies, get underground, and see if you can find something. And so I bought Pedro a motorcycle so he could move around out here.
Basically, what he wanted me to do is to go through the cradle area, locating and finding fossils. So I sat, as I often do, on a rock, and I contemplated how I'm going to approach this. And then it dawned on me, I'm part of a caving society, having caved in this area for years. And in that, I found Rick and Stephen. I asked them to systematically work their way through caves and holes towards the east of the cradle while I was busy working in the west.
We often don't look in the places that are most familiar to us because we think we know them well. I call it backyard syndrome. And so I said, you know, start right under our noses. Go to the most well-known places.
On September the 13th, 2013, Rick and Steve decided to look into a cave system they thought they knew well. It's called Rising Star.
It's an amazing cave. It's got a bit of everything. There's tight squeezes, some great climbs, beautiful formations.
Rick and Steve headed deep underground.
Wanted to show Rick a great climb in the cave called the Dragon's Back. We climbed up there. And in the process of taking some video of the formations at the top of it, Rick wanted to get past me. So I went down a small little crevice, basically so that Rick could crawl over me. I was just getting out of his way. And as I went into it, I noticed that there's still a little bit continuing down.
Once in the crevice, Steve realized there was nothing below his feet. He squeezed himself further down.
Every time you go down, it just goes a bit further and a bit further and a bit further down. You squeeze your body in so that you don't slip, and you feel around for a grip. So my legs were dangling down this last little bit, and you don't feel anything below you. And the only way to climb down is actually to lower yourself as far as possible. Just keep on lowering yourselves until you literally, your arms are almost fully stretched out, and then you start to feel a couple of rocks that you can actually put your feet on.
He emerged into a hidden chamber. He called for Rick to come down and join him. They could see massive rock formations above their heads. But the real discovery was beneath their feet. The floor of the cave was littered with small bones.
We saw at first one bone lying around. We looked around a bit more, and, well, another bone.
We actually spotted teeth in the rocks and realized we actually had found something.
Followed by a skull in the ground. And finally, one of the most interesting ones is the mandible, with 4 teeth in it.
Rick and Steve had no idea what type of bones they were looking at, but they seemed intriguing. They took pictures and decided to show them to Pedro.
And I will never forget when he came to me with the photos, put it on the computer, and the first thing I noticed was the jaw with the teeth. And I realized this is definitely a hominin. So needless to say, I called Professor Berger. He didn't answer his phone, and we decided we're going to drive to his house, because now we're all excited, bubbling, of course. Arriving at his home, I rang the bell, and when he answered, my words to him was, "Lee, you really want to talk to us?"
Pedro says, "You're really gonna wanna let me in." And, 9:30 at night and dark, but I could hear that emotion in his voice. And they flipped open a computer, and I saw something I don't think I ever dreamed I would see on a computer screen.
A lot of swearing at first. Apparently that's his reaction when he sees fossils. But yeah, no, he immediately identified it as a hominid.
And that was a mandible of what was clearly an early hominin. The teeth just perfect. The next picture had a skull in it of a hominin. I could see it in outline. There were bones everywhere. They take every one of them I could see in the image were hominin. I was a bit in shock because it all went like a car crash for me. It really did, black and white, and I have only visual, not audio.